Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to season 2 of the Legacy Lounge, where we bring y'all real stories of triumph, resilience, and legacy building. Speaking of legacy, today, y'all gotta bear with me because I might be fanboying a little bit, but it's all right. Speaking of legacy building, we have a legend of epic proportions, in my humble opinion, on the lounge today. We got Mr. Tubbo. Yes.
Yes. How's it going, guys?
Doing good. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Okay, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So, as I've said, I mentioned fanboying, but I've always been a huge fan. We're gonna get into all of that.
Okay.
We're gonna get into all of that. Certain things I want to touch on before I ask my personal questions and tell you how it was growing up watching you. But I do appreciate you coming on and taking the time out of your schedule to sit down with us. It's actually a dream come true. So yeah, this is going to be big for sure.
Well, that's good. Good to hear.
So first of all, I want to say how much we respect you for coming to share your story with us. And on behalf of the Legacy Lounge, we want to acknowledge and give our condolences and our sympathy for the loss of your wife.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. That means a lot to me.
No problem at all.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's not easy to even come on here and talk about that, but we appreciate you doing that.
Oh yeah, it's I have my days, I have my moments, man. 37 years we were together since high school, so yeah. But she was a fighter. She was strong, man. She's tougher than me. I know that. A lot of people know she's definitely pretty tough, and I hope I'm making her proud. The things that we're going to continue to do in her name and her memory. So I'm excited about some things we got coming up that we'll make some announcements later on when we get to that point.
For sure. So tougher than you. From what I hear, you pretty tough.
Yeah.
So tougher than you. That's a bold statement and a large statement. It speaks to her character and what she went through. So, if I'm not mistaken, she lost the battle. Well, she was fighting a battle with cancer, correct?
Yeah. She had breast cancer for 10 years and 3 months. She fought it. And again, I have to thank UPMC, Women's McGee's Hospital, because 10 years ago, we the way she was in and the condition she was in, this could have happened 10 years a lot earlier. So. We were lucky enough to get her up there and have a treatment called Taxol, which had just got approved Friday, and we brought her up there Tuesday. So that Friday before, the FDA just approved that cancer drug, and her blood type and the cancer she had, she was able to take that medication to get her started back on the path of recovery. But it had went into her liver. And over time, the chemo, it's not the treatment. It's basically poison. I mean, it's going to keep you around, but it's not going to be the thing that's going to pretty much save you, because over time it eats at your kidneys and your liver, and that's what happened. But in her situation, in our family situation, it was, we was able to have those conversations. She was. Besides, my mom passing away, she was the closest thing, that passed away for me. But the conversations we was able to have, because most people, they die suddenly. You see them one day, then they're gone the next, and you don't get to say their goodbyes and all that. So it was this past spring, early spring, when things start to turn, and we started to have those conversations, and us being together so long, and she being my best friend. And being around, we was able to talk about some of the things that she wanted, and wanted our daughter to do, and wanted me to make sure that she get things done, like going to medical school, continuing on her education, becoming a great person, being the person that she raised. And then she wanted me to make sure those things were taken care of and those things were done. So we had put a lot of things in place, and we had talked about just our life in general. So that was actually good. It actually, that's the healer for me, that we was able to talk for those 3.5, 4 months, until she passed. But we was able to have a lot of conversations, because I spent a lot of time around her. I was 24/7. I was taking care of her, taking her to doctors all the time, and just being there for her, because I know she would do it for me.
I know a lot of people are uncomfortable or run from those conversations, because in essence, you're planning your death. for lack of a better term. And although it's a reality, it's still an uncomfortable conversation, I imagine. At the beginning, was that conversation easier knowing that she's giving you instructions on how to live without her? Or was it harder knowing that she's giving you instructions on how to live without her? You know, basically you're planning for her not being there.
Yeah. So initially, right? Initially, I always had that last hope, you know, because we knew things were getting worse. But we were still trying to do the chemo. It just wasn't working. So at first, yeah, it was tough because she was talking about it. Because I told you how strong she was. She didn't shed a tear. When I tell you that the last day that we were up there, because she was up there on a Friday and she died 48 hours later after that, she had the whole floor crying. I was crying. I mean, the doctors are crying because everybody loved her. And she didn't shed a tear. She was more worried about us and telling us it was going to be okay. So she was prepared, or she had prepared herself for it. So at first it was tough, but then over time I saw that she wanted to have that talk. So it opened me up to have that talk with her. So then I had to come to accept what was going to happen. And we did. We accepted it, and we just made the best of it. And basically, she passed away at home. And I chuckle because she had this thing about not passing away in the hospital. She did not want to be in the hospital. She wanted to be at home. She wanted to be around her family. She wanted to be around friends, and she definitely wanted to be around me and Isabella, and making sure that we were there for her, and we held her hand to her last breath. So we did the things that she wanted us to do. And then we'll remember her forever. She'll always be with us in our hearts, body, mind, soul, and spirit.
I admire your strength, and I think that's going to be a theme. Your strength and resilience. I think that'll be a theme throughout this episode. But in her absence, I know we talked before the camera started rolling. You're not going to stop your fight against cancer,
right?
And you in her legacy, you want to keep that going.
I was retired. I wasn't doing much. And something just fell into her lap. So I'll share the story. I posted the picture that our family trusts and had donated money to UPMC's Women's McGee's Hospital, the breast cancer center up there. That one post has turned this thing upside down. I had a good friend of our family's, Evelyn. I call her Miss Evelyn, but she is a general manager of multiple Hilton hotels. She had saw the post and wanted to do something. So she had reached out, and now we are in a position to where she has put me in front of 13,000 businesses, and they're spread out over 132 different countries. So big thanks to her. I know she's going to watch the episode. Miss Evelyn, I love you. Appreciate you doing that for me.
We love you, Miss Evelyn.
Yes, we love you for that. And then what's going to happen is everybody who sees me on social media knows I love to travel. Our family traveled extensively. So by her being in that position, I have started a company now, Powers of Partnerships. And even Janice had posted a couple of times just to let people know about the partnerships, how powerful partnerships could be. I am in a position to partner with a lot of different companies that's going to actually I'm going to create a website that people can go to, and all they got to do is book their vacations, weddings, weekend getaways, family trips, staying at the hotel, different types of travel that you would do. You can click on one of the partnership links, and then that while you're doing that at no cost to you, you're just booking your vacation or your trip. The company will end up paying us, and that money's going to go towards breast cancer research and cancer research in general. So we're going to donate that money back to hospitals, and we're going to have a blog on our website. We want people to be involved. We're going to do giveaways. I talked to my media team, and you guys know that story about posting that we're going to give families maybe twice a year. We'll pay for a paid vacation for families to go on a trip, just to get people, just to tell them thanks. And we want people to post their stories on our page. We want people to tell their stories. We want people to be able to share in those donations to cancer. Because when I first went up there about 10 years ago, when you're not affected by something, you don't really know what the situation is. But I've seen teenage girls to ladies in their 80s. And when I seen that, it was a shock to me. I didn't realize how widespread it was. So most people are not in the position to donate. So for me, I want to be able to hand somebody a check and say, hey, can you go and be in the picture, and this donation is going to be in your name on behalf of you and your family and your loved ones that was lost, and they can do that. So, and I don't think there's a lot of people who have not been affected by cancer or know somebody who's been affected. So I think this new avenue in my life, I hope she's looking down on me and I'm doing a good job, and she's telling me her memory and her legacy will continue to live, because that was one of the things she definitely wanted me to do. You know, we have invested money and saved money, insurance. We had all that, right? We have a trust fund, a family trust. She was like, make sure you take some of that money and donate it back to the UPMC Breast Cancer Center. And we did that. So we're holding our end of the bargain up, because I definitely don't want her coming after me or hunting me down, right? But, you know, I love her to death. And the one saying that I live by today is you'll love them more than you'll miss them more than you love them. I tell you, that's the grief process. I definitely miss her, and it's tough to say that, but just her not being around is what you miss the most.
I would say that you're doing a great job of carrying on her legacy.
Thank you.
And I'm sure she's proud.
Thank you.
And you know, that's what, you know, legacy is a theme. You know, we're on the Legacy Lounge, and there's different type of legacies. So for me, and for a lot of people, if you talk to around here, I'm 41. I would say anywhere from 35 to probably 60, 70. We talk about legacies and legends. Mm-hmm. If you ask anybody who the number one football player, you know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm not saying running back. The number one football player to come out of Big Red, in that age group, I said most people are going to say Tubbo Yates. Most people are going to say Tubbo. You graduated in 89?
In 1989, yes.
So you graduated in 1989, which, if I do some quick math, that was 35 years ago.
Yeah, that's correct.
So it speaks to the impact and what you were able to do, that 35 years later, your name is overwhelmingly like the unanimous name what people bring up, as far as being the best that ever come out of Big Red in football. Not just football, athlete. I don't want to relegate you just to football, because we know what you did in wrestling as well. We're going to get into that. Mm-hmm. But I do want to ask, those conversations, like when you listen, I know you were watching a podcast. I know you've heard your name.
Yes.
I know over the years your name has come up hundreds and thousands of times, not just with Big Red, but, you know, with Purdue and Ohio State as well. How do you feel when those conversations are brought up? Like, is it awkward for you?
No, it's not awkward. I tell you, when I came back one time for a football game, it was probably, I ain't been in Harding Stadium or something. It may have been like maybe 20 years. And I seen some people, and they were like, Tubbo, you know, saying my name, and, man, this is the best guy, you know. And I'm looking around like, you know, I was just a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid playing football on Friday nights. Like, that's what I thought I was doing, because you don't think about that when you're playing. Mm-hmm. And I had people tell me, man, you were our Friday night entertainment. And I'm thinking, really? You know, but you don't, as a young kid, you don't understand it until you're older. I was in Kroger's with my daughter one time, and she was like 6 years old, and I saw some people that knew me, and they were saying my name, and I was like, and she turned to me, she was like, hey, who are you? Because we couldn't get down the aisle to do our shopping, because so many people because they hadn't seen me in a while, and they were just asking questions, and we were just catching up, right? I mean, those are the things. And then that's when I kind of hit me, and you realize, man, these people still remember me playing. And that it hit me then. So it took a while. It took a while, because I just figured that I had, you know, before me, I used to come to the games to watch the Todd Kellys, Andre Creech and those guys, and Tor Hill, you know, Teddy Gorman, Charlie Keenan. I played with Danny, but mm-hmm. Charlie, I used to watch those guys play. You know, I mean, Biasi and them guys. Those are the guys that I looked up to, and I wanted to be like. And Todd Kelly was a big part of the PVC connection. Y'all don't know about the PVC connection.
The PVC connection.
PVC connection. That's where all the athletes was J-Mo Creech, because he's on the south
He was
end.
South End,
He's
yeah,
on the
yeah.
south end. So no, so Todd Kelly was the one that really got us involved and kind of get us ready for organized sports, because you played to throw up and kill, and we would just hit each other in the head and play on we called it the back 40, because there's a bunch of 40 ounces in the back. We had to clean them up so we can play. But no, Todd really got us down in the organized football. But yeah, as I got older, I started to realize, I did leave a mark, and now I understand that legacies. Talking about legacy,
Mm-hmm.
a legacy of Big Red history and Big Red sports.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a fan for a second. Y'all got to excuse me. So I talked to a couple people, couple friends of mine around my age. I didn't tell a lot of people you're going to be on the show. I really wanted it to be a surprise.
Okay.
But I told a couple of people, that I'm going to be talking to Tubbo, and they would say the same thing I said. So when you were playing, you were my introduction to sports. Like, not just Big Red football, not just football. You were my introduction to sports. Like, to me, you were NFL. Like, you were the equivalent to what LeBron James or the kids now, or what Michael Jordan was. If you ran the ball, you wanted to be Tubbo Yates. If you caught the ball, you wanted to be Chucky Hype. Right. That was just,
Right.
that was understood that that's what you wanted to be. We wanted to wear 21. It wasn't for Deion Sanders. Like, we wanted to be, Tubbo Yates. That's the legacy you left. To have you on here, man, and to pick your brain about fame, local fame, fame in general, but basically just to let you know what you meant to a whole generation before me and after me, and still to this day is a testament to the work you put in.
Yeah, thank you. There's definitely some work put in. Sports wise, some of my favorite memories, you'll be surprised. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. Like I know, like for me, wrestling, and I know we're jumping off the subject for a second, but I use wrestling because we had state champions in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, Danny Keenan, when I wrestled with them, and Sean McGee. When I won it my junior year, so I went ahead of Danny. I won it, and the guys were like, "Dude, why aren't you excited?" I was like, it was going to happen, man. I knew it was going to happen, but this ain't I'm not trying to win a state title. I'm trying to win a national title. And I had guys on my team like, what? The high school thing was, I dominated it. I dominated. It was easy. But I had more focus on being a national champion than I did being a state champion. I was excited for Danny when he won. I was jumping up and down, high-fiving him, excited. That was my junior year. So coming into my senior year, ranked number 1 all year, ain't had a match go all 3 periods. Like, I went 2 years. Is this on? I went 2 years. 2 years, and nobody scored an offensive point on me. I won 69 straight matches, and nobody scored on me in wrestling. Nobody. So, that was the goal that I had personally. But speaking of Sean, I remember we were warming up, and Sean and me and Sean, Sean's if Sean McGee, he's a clown.
Are you and Sean the same age?
Yes, me and Sean graduated together.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So me and Sean was in the same class. So Sean McGee was our comedian. Like he kept everybody at ease. He kept me relaxed. So we're going out, and he goes before me because he wrestled 125, and I tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, "You ready?" He said, "Yeah, I'm a little nervous." I said, "Listen, if you don't win, I'm gonna beat your ass when you come off that mat." He said, "Oh, Tubbo, come on, man. Don't do that to me." I said, "I'm gonna whoop your ass. You lose, I'm whooping your ass off that mat. When you come off that mat." Man, he turned around, he told the coach, he was like, "Man, Tubbo on this crazy stuff, coach." He's like, "Yeah, if you lose, I think he will. I think he's gonna beat you up if you lose." So I was happy for him. And he came off the mat. Boy, he was really happy because he won it, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Hey, man, I'm glad I have to deal with you and your craziness." So, but no, those are the moments for me, is seeing my teammates win. For me, even I had one of the coaches say, "Tubbo, why aren't you happy?" Coach, I mean, nobody touched me for 2. Like, nobody was even close. Like, it didn't drive me, but I outworked everybody every single day, and I tried to make my teammates better. I tried to make the guys around me do the same things that I was doing to go out and dominate, to go out and compete and just win. Those are the moments for me that are exciting being state championship wise. When it comes to football, yeah. Ricky Powers, he was our nemesis for 2 years. Man, he caused us a problem. But you're talking a guy 6'2", 227 pounds. You know, I said, they check his ID. Somebody check his birth certificate, man. You know, they called us the Smurfs. You know, so we you know, I was 5'5", 147 pounds, man. You know, so yeah, he was a beast. He was a beast in football. So yeah, we came up short twice, but to be there with the team and the guys, it was something that I'll never forget. You know, we gave it our all. A little bit closer game our senior year, and hate to bring this up, but everybody know 4th and 1 who was supposed to get the ball. You know,
I need the story. I need it. I don't know the story.
Okay, so here's the story behind that. So we practiced this new play in the parking lot of the hotel that morning. Yes, we practiced it, and what happened was we was trying to do a running play, but I actually moved. So I just went in motion. This is in the parking lot of the hotel. I just went in motion, and Eric White just he hiked the ball and threw it to Parasettles because he was wide open. We call him Mook, but he was wide open. So Coach Radock said, "Hey, let's put that in our playbook. That's the play. If that's what we're gonna do if we ever get in that situation." And I'm like, man, I don't know about that shit. Like I don't know about that play, Coach. That was by accident. So we're in the game. They're beating us. We get a turnover. Calvin Platt gets a turnover, interception, and I'm trying to take the ball from him to keep running because he's a linebacker. And we get into the game, so we tied up, and then I score. We tied up, and I get into overtime. You know, we scored. Then they come right down and score. And then now they get the ball, so they score. Now we got to come down and score. So we're 4th, and we get down there 4th and 1. And in overtime, we still had timeouts left. So Coach Sack called a timeout. And the thing I liked about playing for Coach Sack, when I play, I'm speaking on me, and Coach Radock, they asked me, "Hey, Tubbo, what you see out there?" Like, so they knew I knew the game. I understood the game. I understood defenses. Like, when I come up to the line, I know the play, but I'm looking at the linebackers, the Mike linebacker, the outside. I'm looking to where everybody's lined up because I know which way I have to go. And if they're leaning one way, I'm going to go this way and fake it and go the other way, and you're going to have to catch me. He said, "Catch me if you can," right? So he asked me what I said. I said, "Coach, it's 4 ISO. We got to go in." And he was like, "Well, hold on a second." So he goes and grabs the headphones, and Coach Radock calls that play, the motion play.
Now, Coach Radock is upstairs?
Yeah, Coach Radock's upstairs.
Okay.
He called the motion play. Coach Sack said, "Run it." I get in the huddle. I said, "Eric, 4 ISO. Chucky's like, "Hey, Eric, 4 ISO. He was like, "Tubbo, I got to come back next year." He was only a junior. He said, "Man, they ain't going to let me play if we run that play." I said, "Man, I ain't breaking the huddle. Everybody in the huddle like, "Hey, 4 ISO." Linemen, everybody said it. I called timeout because now the play clock's going to run. I called the timeout. Coach Sack comes out. What the hell are you guys doing? Run the play. I said, "Coach, we ain't running that play." I said, "We ain't running that. I'm getting the ball." He grabbed the headset again. He said, "Run the damn play." Coach Radock says, "Run the play." We huddle up. I said, "Eric, 4 ISO." I said, "Give me the ball." So finally, I guess I came to my senses, and then we ran the play, and the rest is history.
They stopped you.
They stopped us, yes. But on the bus, and even after the game, I love Coach Radock. I love Coach Sack. They've done nothing but help me, and you know, even to this day when Coach Sack sees me, "Tubbo, we should have gave you the ball." But yeah, so we could talk and laugh about it now. But it was one hell of a game. It was something that I never forget. And most people don't know this. The quarterback, Thorne, I think his name was Thornton. Thornton was a quarterback. He played with me at Purdue when I went to Purdue to play. He was the backup quarterback. So we end up, actually him and Graves played because Graves was on defense and Thorne was the quarterback. So the two guys that was two of their best players ended up playing on the same team with me at Purdue when I played football there. So, you know, how ironic. Yes, they let me hear it every day. They beat us.
I bet they
did.
Every
day. I wasn't wearing no Bucknell stuff they tried to give me, but yeah, I heard it every day.
Yeah, I never heard that story before. Like I remember listening to it on the radio. I just know we didn't win. But it's funny because I've been in a lot of, circles of Big Red historians, and I've never heard that story before.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
That's the truth. That's the true story. That's how it went down, man.
I want to go back. I'm going to take you back.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go back PVC. Jet said you was mean. But you said you outworked everybody, and I always heard that you outworked everybody. But I also heard from a couple people that you were mean. You know, two things could be true. If you being mean, what impact did PVC have on you? I mean, I know you grew up with all brothers too, so I'm sure you know. And you being smaller, you had to be a little mean. But how did PVC help mold you and shape you, I should ask?
Yeah, it goes back to, what I said, Todd Kelly. I mean, it goes back to Todd being older than us and being Jimmy and Brett's brother. And, you know, a lot of people don't even know this. And instead of us running around and playing tag or knocking on doors and running, he had us literally running that hill at 11 o'clock at night, running the hill from down on the bottom to the top, up where the old skate ring used to be. He had us hopping on one leg. That's why I got these big ass calves. Now, you know, he had us out there and he said, hey, you guys got a lot of energy. And he was training himself. So we went and trained with him. And once we realized, and like I said, we went to those games and watched him compete, and we seen some of the teams they were playing. Now, they were a lot bigger than us, right? You know, and he started that. He started me to really take the sport seriously, started the lifting, started the training, being tough. Now, I was always a tough kid. I would fight at the drop of a hat, especially when it came to sports. I was a competitor. I wanted to win. But what really changed the game for me to make me really, really like just hate the opponents, it goes back to where I was in middle school and just dominating wrestling, dominating football. But, you know, they had these awards in wrestling that the most valuable wrestler, the best wrestler would get the most valuable trophy. You know, being 12, 13 years old, you know, you're at that age and your coach tells you, you know, our team is saying, man, Tubbo, you're going to win the most valuable. Like nobody, you pinned everybody in the first period. Like nobody can touch you. But the coach turning to me at that age and telling me, well, you know they're not going to vote for you because you're black. And I said, our team would be like, what? Oh, these coaches ain't going to vote for you, because it was a coach's decision. From the other schools had to write their name down, write the person's name down, and put it in the hat or in the box or whatever, and then whoever got the most votes was the most valuable wrestler. And I didn't get it. I've never gotten the most valuable wrestler in the whole history of my wrestling career. And each coach from middle school to high school, even to college, I beat the #1 ranked kid in college, my second match at the national duels. I dominated him. Beat him by 8 points. Even everybody at our house say, Tubbs, you're going to get the most valuable wrestler. They didn't give it to me. And I've been in situations, even in wrestling, at the OVACs, where we had extra guys wrestling, and I was in the finals, but it was people wrestling the consolation rounds, and there was no coach. And I had to go and find the coaches, and I walked into the coach's room, and I heard a guy from another school, a coach, and he said, hey, John Craig, this is a wrestling coach. He goes, you got too many of them N-words guys on your team. Yeah. And when he turned around and saw me, you know, how long you been standing there? Enough to where I heard what he said. So when I wrestle his kid, oh, it's on. It's on. I'm going to really try to physically hurt him. So when it came to that, to sports, that elevated my level for hatred towards these guys. You know, I just wanted to punish them and embarrass them. You know, I was always mean, but when stuff like that happened, you know, that drove me to really want to really physically embarrass them, and hurt them, and within the realms of the sport, right? But I wanted to punish them because I had referees tell me, hey, yes, you know, be nice, calm down. Be nice on this match. But there are certain situations. I mean, like there was a situation where I just had weighed. We was in high school and I weighed in. I went to get a Gatorade from the concession stand, and I ran into a guy from Oak Glen, a dad. And this was my sophomore year. I ran into the dad right at the doorway, and he had on overalls, and he's like, my son's gonna kick your ass tonight. Da, 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 da. Big dude, big country, about 6'5", big country guy. And you know, me being me, I'm like, man, who are you talking to? But he was so loud, the moms at the concession stand and Coach Craig noticed that he was in the doorway screaming at me. Coach comes running down, and Coach told me to go upstairs in the locker room, in our wrestling room, and to calm down because I was upset because he was calling me all kind of names. But this is what people did. This is what they did. So for that, you know, I sat there and I was upset, and I looked at Coach Craig, and I said, Coach, show me a move that you haven't shown me that I'm gonna use tonight. And I'm gonna make this kid. I'm gonna put him in. I'm gonna make him hurt. I'm gonna put him in some pain. So he showed me what they call a high leg cradle, and he's never taught us this before. And I remember going down there, and a couple of our guys, and Sean McGee was the guy that really kept me grounded, because I didn't like talking to people. I didn't want nobody talking to me from other teams. I just didn't like anybody. And Sean was like the security guard. Hey, don't talk to him. Like Sean was like, hey, back up. Do not talk to him. So I go out there, and Sean's like, Tubbo, please don't punch this kid out. Like, we know what's going on. I said, oh, Sean, he gonna be in some pain. I hit him with the high leg cradle, man. And when I got done, I went to his dad, and after I pinned him, I was like, now what? I just stuff like that. And again, when people would talk to me, like the kid from Weirton told me his girl, he got a new girlfriend, and she was gonna be at the match tonight, and we weighing in, and he's talking to me, and Sean McGee was like, why would you tell this man that? Don't tell him that. And I said, oh, it's all good. So I literally went out, took him down, picked him up, walked across the mat where his girlfriend was sitting in the front row, pinned him down and pinned him right in front of his girlfriend, was like, and I waved to her like, hey, how you doing? And he was like, why'd you do that? And Sean's like, dude, you crazy, man. So, but those were the things that made me just want to embarrass people, because being that young, being told you can't win an award because they ain't gonna vote for you because of the color of your skin, and I'm the best wrestler out here. Like, come on, really? This is what we doing? So that's where that meanness and that anger came from, and I ran that way. I took it out on everybody, from football to wrestling, playing baseball. A lot of people don't even know in football, I played defense. I started on defense.
I didn't know you played defense.
Yeah. I didn't come up. Let me name the. Hello. Let me tell you. Look. I played outside linebacker. I played inside linebacker. When we went to the 46, I played safety. I played corner. I played every position and never came off the field. I was on punt return, kickoff return. Shit, I was a guy on extra point on the side blocking. Like, I didn't come off the field, and people don't know. I'm like, I played defense the whole game, played all special teams, and carried the ball 20, 30 times a game. I didn't come off the field. I was more determined not to come off the field. And if you took me off the field, I got mad, because I always wanted to punish somebody. I always wanted to be out there. I always wanted to try to make help the team win. So, like I said, I played the whole game. When they say I played the whole game. I never came off the field. I try to play every position that I possibly can to put us in a situation to win. And that's what I did.
So, Jet, you were right. You just confirmed it. Tubbo just confirmed, he was mean, but he had reasons for being mean.
Yes.
But nah, he was mean. Yeah, because Jet wasn't the only person that said it. But that's what made you. On top of you being better than everybody else, they gave you extra fuel, and you used it against them.
I had a chip on my shoulder for sure, and it motivated me to try to make our team better. I wanted my teammates to have that same, chip on their shoulder. Now, I didn't tell. Only people that knew about some of the stuff, about the most valuable stuff, was the wrestlers. It was a little bit different in football. Football was when Coach Sack said, run through the fence. Hey, we running through the fence, guys. Get ready. Put your helmet on. Put your mouthpiece in. We're going to have to run through this fence. And that's the mentality that we had to have in order to win. And you got to understand, if you look at that team, or the teams that I was on, they called us the Smurfs for a reason. We were small. I'm telling you, I told them, hey, man, y'all need to check Ricky Powers' birth certificate, man. This dude, he's unreal. We played Youngstown Boardman. They had 2 twin brother linebackers. They had beards. They had full beards, man. They were grown men out there. So, but we was never intimidated by anybody.
So who was the Smurfs? Was it
my
team in general, or just like a group of individuals that were like smaller?
It was a group of us my junior year. So it was J-Mo was the quarterback, Jimmy Kelly, myself, my brother Dunrick. We were the running back, so he called us the Smurfs because we was all small.
Right.
Dunrick, I think, was the tallest one of us all, and he was the biggest one. But we was all under 5'8". We wasn't that big at all. So, but we were tough. We were tough, and I enjoyed playing with them. I mean, it was something that I always remember. And it was just a great time in our lives at that point. We was able to go to state. And seeing the 1984 team go to state, that's all we wanted to do was replicate that. Like,
and Todd Kelly was on that team, correct?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yes. And that was the motivation to see the work that he put in on PVC when nobody was watching. And I'm telling you, he had us out there at 11 o'clock midnight. And then our parents was like, Todd, get them out there every day so they come back in here and go to sleep. Because we had too much energy. Too much energy. It's 5 of us. We had too much energy. So, yeah. So he was a big, for me, he was a big help that really catapulted my sports career. Like, I started to really, take it serious. And at Roosevelt, when I started playing football, they gave me number 74.
Why they give you 74?
The first day they handed out the jerseys, I said, they was like, everybody looked, and I remember Garrett Jenkins was like, Coach, why Tubbo got 74? Well, he's the lineman. Nobody said nothing. You listen to what the coach say, right? So we go through the first day of practice. They got me, I'm playing left tackle. I don't know what I'm doing. What is this? The first day, the second day we go, the third day we go. Now he said, hey, we're going to do some conditioning. And I'll never forget, Garrett Jenkins turned to me. He said, he going to know you the running back after we do these sprints. Boom, I took off. He said, hey, man, I didn't know Tubbo was that. I didn't know you was the fastest kid out here. They was like, we all said, yeah, he ain't supposed to be on the line. Then they gave me number 21.
Garrett was PVC as well?
Yeah, Garrett was PVC, yeah. Yo, me and Garrett played, we played ball all the time. I mean, we played home run derby where, put the box on the wall and had a baseball bat. He whooped my ass, but we played every day, man. Garrett, he got me in the baseball situations because,
I heard he was amazing at baseball. Now, you guys are the same age?
He's a year older than me.
Jason said if Garrett would have played football, y'all would have won the state championship. Or I don't want to quote him, but he said something of that nature. So Garrett didn't play football with you guys?
No. Garrett was our quarterback at Roosevelt, and he was a hell of a quarterback. I can't take that away from J-Mo because J-Mo led us. I mean, when we needed a play, J-Mo made it. And he can say the same thing about me and the other guys. When we made plays to the best of our ability. So I don't think one person would have changed the game. But with all that being said, there were some guys that should have played football that could have helped us. They didn't play football that could have helped us be a better team. Now, can I say we would have won or lost? No, because at that point, it was no stop. I don't care who you was. You wasn't stopping Ricky Powers. we just couldn't stop him, right? But it can't be one person. But there was a lot of athletes that didn't play football because they couldn't deal with some of the stuff that the coaches wanted you to do and the dedication, the hard work. And I'm not saying Garrett wouldn't have done that. He just was a hell of a baseball player. I mean, he's the only kid that I've ever played with that used a wooden bat in high school. I'm talking about a wooden Louisville Slugger. We all had aluminum Easton bats, and he had a wooden bat and was hitting home runs left and right. So for me, Garrett did his sport. He got drafted. He got drafted by the Boston Red Sox. So he was doing the right thing.
See, that's why I enjoy these conversations.
Yeah.
I could talk about this stuff all day, honestly. I just love to hear it. And, just since it was, before I was around or before my time, but you always hear the stories. So actually hearing it coming from you, because most of the time you're in the stories.
Yeah.
So hearing it coming from you, it's awesome. I want to ask you this. You ever watch your highlight tape?
Yes. Coach Sack sent it to me, and I don't hate to say about Raymond, but his brother Raymond, he had sent me the tape too. So I watched it. Yeah, and I watched it because Mr. Blackburn had made it and gave me a copy. I think that was our what they call it. That was more of like our highlight motivation film before the game that we watched before the state championship game. So most of that was already in the tape prior to the championship game against Bucknell. So I had seen the highlight. He had made that tape prior to. It was one moment in time.
Yes.
And he had made all that. And so I had a chance to watch it. Yeah. So I watched it and as a motivation to get ready for the game. And then I've watched it after I've got out of football and just most recently I've watched it.
Somebody posted it. I think the Roll Red Roll site actually posted it not too long ago. It was this football season, and I seen people a lot younger than me, that I heard your name, that came back to the comments I get it. That's who y'all talking about. Now I seen some people Yo, I heard Tubbo. Yes, I'm expecting somebody 6'3",
Yeah.
basically describing Ricky Powers, 200 and something pounds, not realizing, he was the one dominating at this size.
Yeah.
But I say all of that to say 35 years later is still the best highlight tape to ever come out of Big Red. It's like watching it was like watching Barry Sanders at Oklahoma State. Like, that's the best thing I could compare it to.
Yeah, thank you. I tell you, the tape itself and Jet described it. A lot of that stuff I did in middle school. Like he said, 6 carries, 6 touchdowns, but I was just faster than everybody else. It was like, hey, give him the ball and I just would go, But as we got more focused and organized up in the high school level, we had a decent sized offensive line, but they were tough. I mean, they were tough. So they created a lot of holes. And I used to talk to them all the time. Hey guys, I don't need to go through no damn dunes. We gotta drive a truck through it. Just open enough so I can slide sideways. Like, give me a crease, I'm gonna get it. Just give me a crease. And if it ain't there, I'm bouncing that shit to the outside, and they're gonna have to catch me. So we had a great chemistry. The line, I knew. See, and that's the thing. That's the thing about football. So I studied the game, right? I knew the game. I knew what the lineman calls were. I knew what the defensive calls were. I knew what all of our plays were. I mean, shit. Sometimes I look over and see they signaling in, and I would know what the play is going to be before it came in, and they would ask me, "Hey, Tubbo, what you see out there? What you want to run?" So, for me, the lineman gave me the holes that I needed or the crease that I needed to make those plays. I got to give it to them, because without those guys, I broke a lot of tackles. Yes, I did a lot of things, outran a lot of people, but without the line being there and our receivers blocking just for a split second or holding up their blocks for a long time to get you those extra yards. Mm-hmm. And I understood that. I used to get on, Chucky, Leon Sawyer, and those guys, rest in peace, Leon. I used to say, hey, man, you stay on your block a little bit longer, and you hold it. I'm before you look up, I'm by him, but he don't have an opportunity to catch me. So when we understood that, it made our team even gel better, because they knew there was any given time that I was going to break one, or if I got through the line and they were still blocking, I was going to take it to the house.
You go back to the team a lot, shouting out your team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. So, okay. I'll put you on the hot seat. All humbleness aside, you shouted out the team and everything. Mm-hmm. Graduated in 89. From before you, during you, after you, to now, best football player to ever come out of Big Red is who?
I can say this. It wouldn't have mattered to me because of who I am as a person and my character. It wouldn't have mattered what era I played in, because if you wasn't tough and you wasn't mean, you weren't going to stay with me. You wasn't. You wasn't going to outwork me. You wasn't going to just physically be better than me. I just think, for me personally, whatever era I played in, I know my personality. I would dominate you, and not in a manner that disrespects you, because I was always Big Red. It was like, I love Big Red and screw everybody else. I hated everybody else. And Coach P told me that one day. Coach P said, there's only 2 people that I know that love their team but hated everybody else, hated the other teams with a passion. He said it was you and Zach Colares. He said, because when I coached you guys, he said, he had that hatred like you had. And Coach P was my running back coach. So he knew how competitive I was. He knew how that hatred was just in me and that will to win, right? When it comes to the errors that are out there, I would have probably dominated the era. I mean, that's just me. I don't care if you was 6'1", 6'2", you weren't gonna start over me, because I was gonna do whatever it takes to get there. For me, I'm gonna jump off of football for a second, and I'm gonna jump into wrestling. For me, like I told you before, my biggest satisfactions wasn't me winning, because I expected to win. I knew I was gonna win, right? Even in wrestling, nobody wrestled me off in middle school. Like, because you have to wrestle off to make the team. Uh-huh. So nobody wrestled me off in middle school. Nobody wrestled me off in high school. But when I got to college, to Ohio State to wrestle, I had a guy, hey, I'm wrestling 133. So now you got to wrestle 3 matches. The best out of 3 wins. I said, okay, well, you challenging me? Okay. And I never forget, rest in peace, Kevin Randleman. He said, he's from Sandusky. He's 2-time national champ, 2-time Big Ten champ. He turned to the guy. He said, listen, that dude from Steubenville, man, he a river rat. Them dudes down there are different. They built different. And I looked at him, I'm like, what you know about Steubenville? He said, I know enough. He said, y'all are built different. I tech-fouled him in the first period. I mean, I beat him by 15 points within 3 minutes. And I went back, relaxed. You get a 30, 45-minute break until you wrestle your second match. And I'm sitting there. And I start warming up and get ready. And they said, okay, Yetson, I ain't gonna mention his name, but they said, Yetson so get ready. And they said, Coach, hey, he left. He took his bag and left.
You scared so-and-so off?
Hey, it was a one-match. It was a one-match wrestle off. He took his shit and went home. Went back to the dorm. Yes. He said, man, you beat the brakes off that dude. So that was just me. So my senior year, and you got to challenge, right? You can't get recruited and not challenge somebody to come in because, you got to say, hey, I'm a state champion too. And again, my boy Will Knight from Shaker Heights in Cleveland, he was like, hey man, I know you a freshman, right? Yeah. I'm challenging Yets. He said, hey, last year, man, he made a dude pack his shit and go home. like you might want to just tell him you might want a red shirt because when he get out there, bro, he gonna try to embarrass you. Yeah, he packed his shit after the first match. Yeah, I beat him too in the first period. Yeah. Hey, come back. Hey, where you going? He said, man, it's over. He got it. So, but that was just me. So I know how I was as a competitor. Different person outside of sports, but when it came to sports and being competitive, I would play in any era because I'm just that type of person.
That's what made you you.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to ask. I want to get into Purdue and Ohio State.
Okay.
But I do want to ask, what role did Steubenville, Parkview Circle, Big Red, strength and conditioning, like how do you feel you were prepared when you went to the D1 schools compared to the other kids that came in from other high school programs? Like how do you think you were more prepared?
Head and shoulders. Mm-hmm. Listen, there was guys on the Purdue football team that I don't even know how they got a scholarship. And it's not being disrespectful because I told it to their face. Who recruited you? Because I know a kid in Steubenville right now that will dominate this position. Like, how did you get here? And again, it was physically, competitively. I mean, just emotion. I was ready to compete. I was ready to compete. Conditioning, lifting, focus, head and shoulders above a lot of kids because a lot of programs were different. There was kids from Texas, Louisiana, out of Illinois and Chicago. There's a couple Indiana kids there. I mean, there was a lot of different people. Virginia, so we all had to come together but still be a team. But the work ethic was totally different, man. Like, I was like, guys couldn't do up downs. They just couldn't do runs and sprints. I'm like, man, what was y'all high school record like? Like, what did y'all compete? Who did y'all compete against? But I, with my size, a lot of the guys at first was like, oh man, where you get this little guy from? And I accepted it, right? I was in the huddle one time and they was like, Yets, where's Yets at? I was like, shit, I'm right here, coach. I said, because I'm standing next to the way the huddle was circled, I'm standing next to the lineman. He's 6'7", 300-something pounds. Like, he bent over and they still couldn't see me because how big he was. And we laughed. Like, everybody on the team, the coach, we all laughed because I was like, hey, I'm right here, coach. I'm in the huddle, right? So they laughed, but I gained their respect. My first day of practice, they said, I heard you was, a special teams guy, punt return kickoff guy. I said, yeah. So they said, okay, we're going to see how tough you are. Welcome to college football. Okay, we can punt the ball. I mean, what you talk about, right? I said, hey, hold on, where's the blockers? I said, wait a second. We ain't got no blockers. They get ready. Boom, they punt the ball. It's no blockers. I got no punt return on. It's just me versus the 11 guys coming down the field. And I'm talking to the coach like, hey, man, what y'all doing? I catch the ball. I took it to the house.
1 verse 11.
I took it to the house.
Make sure that microphone on.
Listen, the center, the shotgun guy who came down, I went right, went left. He blew his knee out. I took it to the house.
This your freshman year?
I took it to the house. My freshman took it to the house. They went crazy because everybody just blew right by me. But I was always taught you take the ball where it came from, right back up the middle. So all I had to do was, I heard them, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. I faked the one guy, the gunner out, went straight up the middle. It was me and the punter. He didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance. So then after I scored, we laugh and they jumping up and down. Everybody's excited. I'm excited. And then they say, all right, let's do it again. I said, oh, come on. I said, they gonna let my ass up. I said, no, coach, timeout. I was calling timeout, but like when he's in the game, I'm like, time. Boom, they kicked the ball. Now, I gained some yards, but I didn't take it to the house. But I almost did. They got me on that one. So, but I gained the respect from the team because when I did that, they was like, oh, this kid can play. Like, he can really play. So then I ended up working my way up to be in the starting right slot because we had the run and shoot offense back then with Coach Ayers.
So you were the starting right slot your freshman year?
Yeah, I started on kickoff return, punt return, and then I was a starting right slot. We had a 5-wide offense.
So how long did you stay at Purdue?
For 2 years.
Okay.
I stayed there for 2 years, and then after that, I end up, transferring out. And speaking of, that's my wife ended up going to Ohio State. She was my girlfriend at the time, and I was getting calls. It was like the old NIL deal. I was getting calls from the Ohio guys talking about, come on, man, you got to come back. Kevin Randleman, the Sabados, and those guys, and hey, man, you got to come back to Ohio, man, and wrestle with us. We're bringing some guys in. Purdue ain't no wrestling school, but the crazy thing about Purdue, I got to jump off to this for a second. So Danny Keenan signed with Purdue. I signed with Purdue, and now Brody Sockart signed with Purdue to wrestle. So we all three end up signing with Purdue. And we all won the state, and Sean ended up going out to California to wrestle.
Real quick, I want to get back to this, to Purdue and Ohio State. But you and Sean were the last state champions in wrestling before Brody, correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yep.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, for all the kids that we've had, it was because we really, but I would talk to Sean. I mean, me and Sean were still friends to this day, and we always wanted to see. There's guys who had chances. Like I think Bronco Busick got injured, and he would have won it. Tyreek
Wilson, yeah.
Tyreek had beat the kid the week before, so we thought we thought he got a shoe in to win it. Anthony Rice was there; he had a chance to win it at certain times. He was a good enough wrestler to win it. Charlie's younger son, Charlie Keenan, he had a chance to do it. So there was some opportunities there. But again, like even when I was down there for a little bit, I was coaching as a volunteer. Kids would ask me, man, how did you go through and win it? I said, and I don't want to be disrespectful to them. I said, man, I'm just different, man. Like, it wasn't a big stage to me. It just wasn't. Like, to me, I knew it was going to happen. I just was that confident. And I wasn't going to let somebody not let me win. Like, I was going to take it. Like, I was going out there to take it. But then I had, my 2 state championship matches. And here's a story for the ages. Literally, the guy that I wrestled with my junior year, we're walking out to the mat, and he said, "Hey, man, don't hurt me, man. You know you're gonna win this, right? I ain't trying to don't embarrass me in front of my family out here."
Oh, he was beat before y'all even shook hands on the mat, man.
I ain't answering. I knew I tried to hurt him.
You didn't want to talk to him.
No. I didn't say 2 words to him. And I remember my coach said, "Hey, man, what did he say to you?" I said, "I'll tell you afterwards. I'm fitting to hurt this guy. I'm gonna tear his head off." So in my senior year, the guy literally from out of Cleveland, he says, "Hey, yes, man. I know you don't like people talking to you because I just know how I heard about you and stuff." And I didn't answer him. He said, "I'm going to college to play baseball, man. Please don't hurt I don't want to hurt my arm, and don't hurt me out here."
This is a championship match.
Championship match, yes. So they already knew. But like I said, like for me in wrestling, in high school, it was a cake. It was a cakewalk. It really wasn't. I see kids these days, and again, to each his own. I got 150 wins. I got 200 wins. How many losses do you have? I mean, that's the name of the game. You know, I've lost 6 times in high school, and 4 of them was my freshman year and 2 my sophomore year. Like, you know, it's to me, I'm like, I can name the 5 out of the 6 guys I lost to, but I couldn't tell you the other 130 or something I beat. It's about the losses. It's not about the wins. I could have wrestled 200 times. I'd have been 206. Like, I would have won 200 matches. So for me, it's when you compete, it's about the wins and losses. You know, to me, it's about the losses. And how many losses do you have? If you are 200 matches and you 100 and 100, that's 50%.
Who cares if you won 100 if you lost 100?
Yeah. It's about how many losses you have.
Well, I brought up Brody because it speaks to, like, you knew you were going to win. Like, it was easy to you.
Yeah.
But it speaks to how hard it actually is because it hasn't been done in 35 years before this year. Well, last wrestling season, which you mentioned some of the athletes that walked those halls.
Yeah.
Some amazing wrestlers. But there hasn't been a state championship since you and Sean McGee in 1989. 35 years. Yeah. So, you know, to hear you say it was easy, you knew you were going to win, it puts it in perspective how crazy it is because it hasn't been done before Brody this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, I don't want to take anything away from the sport because that sport has given a lot to me and I've given a lot to the sport. You know, to just for me, it just came easy for me. I think it became easy for Sean because he knew I was going.
He didn't want you to beat him up.
We was going to go at it if he was going to lose that match because I was so excited that he made it. Because and most people don't know this, he wasn't even projected to win. The kid that he beat was supposed to dominate it. He was going to Division I wrestling. He was supposed to be all Ohio, and Sean took it to him. So for me, that made me excited for him. So no, it is a tough task. Don't get me wrong. It is a tough task. And the one thing that my coach always gave me confidence was my freshman year, I was 132 pounds, but I wrestled 138. The kids that wrestled 138 had to wrestle. They probably weighed 150 coming down to 138, and I ended up, you know, being second in the state. The confidence for me and Coach Craig was he knew I was tough enough and I was willing to learn and work to compete with anybody because most high school kids are small when they come in. They wrestle the lower weights. I started out at 138 and I only weighed 132. My final match, I got steamrolled at state my freshman year. Brian Koloska.
This is state championship?
This is a state championship match. Yeah. So here's a guy, you know, I think I was ranked. I think I ended up beating the like second ranked guy or the third ranked guy in the regionals. And here's a guy that's I look at his record, and he says he's 8-0. And I'm thinking, how he must have been hurt. How's he only 8-0? So didn't pay attention, which I typically didn't because, you know, I was focused on me. But as the matches started as the tournament progressed, Coach Craig had seen, this kid's pretty tough. You're going to collide with him. So I win the semifinal match. He tells me to go watch the kids' match. We're watching the match, and this dude he's out of Cleveland. He's out of Bedford Chanel. That's where he's from. And I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, God damn, this dude is huge. Tree trunks for legs. Just a physically built guy. He's a senior though. He's just built. And he turns around and looks at us, but he's got this scar from the side of his cheek all the way over to the top of his eyebrows to the other side. He's got this big scar on his face. So I was like, Coach, there's got to be a story behind this. He said, let me find out. Well, he was in a motorcycle accident that summer, so he wasn't even supposed to wrestle.
That's why it was 8-0.
That's why he was 8-0. And he was the number 1 ranked guy at the time. And yeah, he deserved it. He deserved it. Yeah, he beat the hell out of me that match. Yeah, he took. But out of whole respect, after the match, he said, "Hey man," he said, "You know, I didn't know anything about you." He said, "But my coach had me watch some of your matches, and I kept thinking that, hey, I'm gonna be in a dogfight, you know." But he was just bigger, and I weighed in about an hour or two before my state final match, and I weighed 130 pounds, and he weighed in. He weighed almost 155. So it wasn't, the weight difference was way off.
Especially for a freshman.
For a freshman.
Well, was he a senior?
He was a senior.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a senior. So yeah. So that's kind of how my wrestling started off at high school.
Yeah, well, I apologize because I was in college. I took you back to high school.
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
I'm just being a fan. So
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm getting lost in the stories.
Yeah, we're everywhere a little bit.
Well, I do want to circle back to college. Did you wrestle at Purdue?
No, I never physically wrestled at Purdue because I played football, and then I didn't wrestle there because the next year I left. I redshirted my freshman year for wrestling. I just played football because once it got there, I was fatigued and just kind of tired, and the season was towards the end, and they had already started conditioning, so I redshirted because they had two seniors that was battling out, so he wanted to redshirt me. And then the next year was football season, and then I left that winter. I left right after football season and transferred to Ohio State, so I never got a chance to wrestle at Purdue.
So, but you went for wrestling and football?
Yeah, I went for wrestling, and then they turned my scholarship into football.
Okay.
I went for wrestling. I signed. I get a phone call in July. I'm working here in Steubenville, just for the summer job. I get a phone call. Back then we didn't have cell phones. Somebody came and got me. I was working over by the stadium. And they said, "Hey, the football coach wants to talk to you." I'm like, "Who?" They said, "Purdue." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I drive home and get on the phone. I call him back, and he's like, "Hey, I heard you was a heck of a football player." He said, "I already talked to Coach Hall. We're going to change your scholarship to be a football player. We want you to pack your bags and come out for camp." I said, "Now?" He said, yeah. Matter of fact, we'll send somebody to get your stuff. You just come on out. I said, "Man, could you give me a day?" So that's how that happened.
So you were recruited as a wrestler for Purdue.
Yep, but then in the summertime,
they heard about you on the football field.
Okay. Yes, yep.
You left Purdue to go to Ohio State to strictly wrestle?
Just to strictly wrestle, yeah, because I had already been recruited by John Cooper. And he came to the high school after the state championship game, and we was in the weight room, and I walked in, and he said, "Oh, wow, you way smaller than I thought." And I gave him a few choice words, me being from PVC.
Right.
I didn't care. I wasn't going to Ohio State anyway because I had already kind of had my mind set on wrestling and stuff and playing that just wrestling in college. And and Coach Sack wasn't happy either. He wasn't happy when he said that. Coach Sack's like, "Well, why'd you seen him play? How big you think he was, And he was like, "No, he's small. He probably don't weigh 150 pounds." I was like, "No, I weigh 147. But Coach Sack's like, "But he runs like he weighs 200, don't he?" And he's like, "Yeah, but he's just small, man. He's small." So that was kind of the Ohio State recruiting trip.
So once he seen you in person, he wasn't ready to extend the offer for you to play football at Ohio State.
Yeah. He said he was scared for me. He's like, "Oh no, you way too small." And come to find out, next year I'm playing at Purdue, playing against them. Now they beat us. They beat the heck out of us. Don't get me wrong. They had a hell of a team, and we wasn't that good. But coming across the field, he ended up shaking my hand, and he was like, "Hey, you caught a couple good passes today." I said, "Yeah, okay, So, but yeah, that was our whole John Cooper conversation that I had with him.
We could probably talk for another 3 hours on your athletic journey, and I'm here for it. But for the sake of time, that's half, a big part of your life, but not not your whole life in general. You had mild success afterwards as well. You're about to graduate Ohio State, and I know you ended up being a sports agent. Did you go to school to be a sports agent?
No, I actually went to school for education. Yeah, and I got into sports agency, NFL sports agent, being knowing some of the guys on the team, being around them, going to the games. I think at that time Buster Tillman was there, so Buster had introduced me to a couple guys, and I knew Orlando Pace through Kevin Randleman. They both went to school in Sandusky, Ohio. So a lot of the guys was like, "Hey, I see your boy going to school, he going to class, he be doing his thing." And he ever thought about representing athletes, and then that's what kind of sparked the idea of getting involved in being a sports agent. So that kind of snowballed from there, and I got involved. Just the word of mouth and guys just wanting me to kind of represent them in some form or fashion in contract negotiations.
So that was just totally organic. It wasn't nothing that you were actually studying to do anything like that?
No. When I found out about it, I had to take a class, and then I started looking into, how to read an NFL contract, which is standard. Most people don't understand that. It's changed over the years, but it's the kind of collective bargaining agreement. and certain people at certain rounds get certain amount of money, so you just got to negotiate the years and all that. And my famous thing was, I was on the phone negotiating with Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys. That was my first deal.
Okay.
So I was talking to them on the phone and end up going, getting that deal done, and being invited down to a couple games and all that good stuff. So that was my very first deal. And then I did a couple deals. I did one in St. Louis with London Fletcher, and we did one with Antoine Winfield over in Buffalo. And then I did some WNBA. I did a couple WNBA contracts for some Ohio State women athletes as well.
You said a key name, Antoine Winfield.
Mm-hmm.
And, we got you on the podcast. People are going to want to know, and I want you to clear the air. As it relates to sports agents and what you were accused of and what actually happened, just, so you could just tell your side of the story.
Yeah. So basically, just being around the wrong group of people at the wrong time. And his was more on the financial side. So I did have a license for insurance, investments, Series 6, Series 7s is to trade stocks and bonds and mutual funds and those things. And, I had a company called Worldwide Financial Group, but I also work in partnership with Paramount Financial. But then a lot of that money was given to those guys to invest. And it was mismanaged. It was misplaced. I accepted my role by bringing not just Antoine, but other clients into that particular company. And being a part of that, I look back on it now, and you have to pay attention to the people around you. I don't point the finger towards him. I'm just as much as to blame because I had the blinders on. I wasn't looking at the bigger picture. I just took it for granted that, hey, the guy had, an SL 500. He had all these nice cars, and he had this big house. He was making money. He was doing the right thing. So, those things happen. And again, for me, I was embarrassed about it. I was upset that it even, took place. But at the end of the day, you hear the one story that all this money was taken and like I put it in my pocket or something, and that was further from the truth. But was the money mismanaged? Yes. And I did time for it, and it's a lesson learned, and you grow up because, like I said, I always think nobody's perfect, but me, even getting in trouble. And being able to, I talk to younger kids. I've spoken about it. I've told them, hey, it's a big thing that they have in the feds. They call it conspiracy. You could just be around somebody, and you could be part of a case that you may not think that no one knows the law. My attorney told me he told me something that stuck with me. He said, let me tell you something, Yats. He said, we've all broken the law, but some of us haven't got caught yet. He said, because the laws there's so many laws, you don't know which ones that you can and cannot do. So yeah, those things in that time of my life was a terrible experience. But the one thing that happened is I came back from it. I did my time, and then I got involved in the oil field. Like my probation officer was like, "Hey man, I read your case, I read your story. You're a hell of an athlete. Hey, shit happens. Don't let this affect you for the rest of your life." But I was built like that. I was like, no, it ain't gonna affect me. I gotta move on. I gotta take care of my family. I gotta take care of myself. I gotta get better from this and grow from this and learn my lesson, right? So, for me, after that that incident that happened, I was able to get a second chance in the oil field, and from there, just blossomed. Like I literally walked in on probation, got a job. They hired me on the spot. Didn't know anything about the oil field and how fracking worked. And I remember about my first or second, into my first week, into my second week, they called a company man that was on location. He's the guy that runs the pad. And he just came up to me and he said, "Hey man," he said, "I know who you are." He said, "It's my job to know who everybody is on this pad." He said, "But I think you'll do great things in this oil field as long as you keep your head on straight." And he pulled me to the side. He said, "Hey, I'm gonna tell you something about me." He said, "Hey, I spent 12 years in the penitentiary." He said, "And now look at me. I'm the company man." And he said, I mean, I run this whole location and they pay me, you know, six figures to do it, multiple six figures to do this. He said, so don't let that discourage you. So even at that point, a random guy out of the state of Texas just took a liking to me, and we shared some stories, and I grew from there. I became a fracking supervisor. I was a ops manager. I became a district manager. I even moved all the way up, and I was the vice president of operations at one company in the oil field. And after that, I decided to start my own company. We started hauling sand. That you see the sand trucks driving around here with the trailers on them, and I became an owner. I started with one truck that I had one guy drive, and then I got a second truck that I was driving. So I have a CDL, and now here I am, a kid from PVC driving a semi truck, but I had to put that work in to grow the business. And I took those same experiences that I had in my athletic career, the grind, not being outworked, working hard. And I'm talking, I worked 16 hours a day with minimum sleep, you know, still spending time with the family, just going out to work. And then I went from that second truck. I ended up being in a position where we had an opportunity to buy a company out in West Virginia, down in near Bridgeport, West Virginia. And he had 8 trucks. And I took a leap. I'm like, let's do it, man. And then, boom, I took his drivers under my wing, under my company. So I went from 2 trucks. Now I'm adding 8. So now I'm up to 10. Just overnight, I got 10 trucks. And then all of a sudden, that 10 grew to 17. So before I sold my company, the year prior to my, well, not quite a full year, it's about 8 months before my wife got sick, I was able to sell that company and spend that last 8 months with my wife. So it actually worked out for me. So it was a comeback. For me, it's a comeback story. It was something that I just put my nose to the grindstone and did and took those same things that I learned as an athlete and that same dedication, and I applied it to my business, and it worked out for me.
So what I hear is TK having you on the hill at 11 midnight, yeah. At 10, 11 years old, and instilling that work ethic to you, which made you the best athlete to ever come out of Big Red, which made you a sports agent when you didn't even go to school to be a sports agent, but you were on the grind. And I think everything you said is important because people tend to look for the quick come up or the easy way out, without actually putting the work in. And amongst other things, this is another reason why we wanted to have you on, because you've reached heights in not only the athletic field, but as far as being an entrepreneur, but you use those same traits, the mean, the ferocious, the competitor. I'm sure when you did your time and you got out from the feds, let me show y'all what I'm about. I'm a kid from PVC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. I said that while I was in there. Yeah, you're right. It was always that having that chip on your shoulder. But again, I wasn't angry at anybody. I wasn't angry at the situation. I was angry at myself. Because nobody wants to get in trouble. Nobody wants to do something and then people look at you a certain way. But I have a thick skin. So when things did happen, I just took it and said, you know what? It happened. Let's learn from it. Who can I tell or teach not to go down these same paths or these same roads? And then my biggest thing was, if I come back and be successful at something, then they can never say, and make a lot of money doing it, they can never say, oh, he got that money doing this and that, but I had to go do this. You don't realize I've been in the oil field over 15 years. So and one thing that I'll say, and this really drove me, and it wasn't my probation officer, it was his supervisor. When I got into the oil field and I had moved up, and as you move up, they pay you. I mean, it's oil field money. These people, they got money to spend. So as I was making really good money, and I was getting off probation, and I remember the probation supervisor said, "I can't believe that you made it. You were supposed to be broken on the street." And I said, "What?" He said, all the stuff that you went through, you should be homeless. There's no way that they moved you up to be a vice president of operations or a district. What do you mean? Why would you expect that of me? You really thought that I was going to back down and I was going to curl up in the corner and not get to work? I was ready to get to work the day y'all sent me in there. It didn't matter to me. I was going to come out on top no matter what. But his whole attitude drove me, because he expected me to be homeless. Where's the system at that y'all say that y'all supposed to help people? And that was your question answer to me? You talking to the wrong dude, bro. Like I'm a dog, man. I'm a dog. I'm gonna prove to you that I can make it. Knock on wood. I made it.
I was watching the Last Dance. I bring that up now because he took little things and he took it personal.
Yeah. And
he was saying it, and I took that personal. Mm-hmm. And it became like a meme, but he took it personal and it motivated him and, to make him arguably the greatest player that ever lived in the sport of basketball. But as I'm listening to you talk, you said multiple things that you took as a slight. It doesn't make you angry. Like a chip on your shoulder don't mean you mad. It just means you want to prove yourself right, or you want to, you want to get the job done. But I've listened to you, whether it be they didn't give you MVP of wrestling because of the color of your skin. Mm-hmm. John Cooper recruiting you, seeing you on film, and then seeing you in person and didn't want you to play football for him. Mm-hmm. The guy in the fracking industry telling you, you're supposed to be homeless or on the streets. The feds, a lot of people who end up in the system don't end up sitting right telling the story that you're telling. Most people don't, because it's designed to keep you going back. Mm-hmm. You said in there, like, I'm gonna show y'all. Y'all ain't gonna be able to say I got it from this. Right. I'm gonna show y'all how to do that. Right. And I think that's super, super important, and it's an inspiration. It doesn't mean you're angry. It just means that if you took something as a slight, you're going to prove yourself right and prove them wrong. The drive and discipline can lead to success, whatever you're doing.
At some point, you have to grow up, right? And some people grow up early. Some people got to grow up late. Some people never grow up, right? So at some point, I had to realize, again, if I just apply the things that I learned as a kid from whether it was coaches or teachers, Todd Kelly. I mean, I say his name because he was the guy, and I give a lot of props and respect to him because we could have been, like I said, running around knocking on doors, just being kids, right? But he took us to that level to say, hey, if you guys want to do something in sport, this is what the things you got to do. So I started to take that and say, let me apply this to my life. Let me apply this to business, and let's see what happens. Because when I look at the world today, and I believe this. It's easy to outwork people because a lot of people don't want to work. It's easy to outwork them. So when I started to do those things, good things started to happen. So that for me was a big change in my success. When I started my company, I wasn't making any money off the bat. It's hard. You never make any money. You got bills, you got this, you got taxes, you got workers' comp. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. You got to pay insurance on a vehicle. It's expensive. But I just said, hey, you stick to the grind, you stick to the playbook, it's going to score a touchdown. It will happen. And if you do the things the right way, God will make it happen for you.
You put the work in.
Yep, that's true.
A kid from PVC.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep going back to PVC because it makes you who you are.
Yeah.
PVC, Roosevelt, Steubenville in general. Like when you said when you got to college, you was more prepared than anybody based off of where you come from. Yeah. And I love the grit of the city. David Brown was on here, and he said we fight, Yes. And he might have been talking physically or, because he was worked up, but he was just talking about fighting. That's what we do from Steubenville.
That's what we do. That definitely. When you talk to people in the community, they'll all say the same thing in some form or fashion. That this is who we are. Mm-hmm. This is who we are. This is how we was raised. And we try to do the best we can. And I love the show. I love you guys helping each other out. I can't wait to partner up with you guys, and you guys partner up with me, and we help each other grow this thing, and you guys help me grow my opportunities in my business to help with cancer research, and also breast cancer as well, for on behalf of my wife and her legacy, and keeping that going. So yeah, so it's who we are. It's who we are, and we come together. And that's the saying that I have to start. That's going to be my number one saying is, a power of partnerships is better than trying to do it by yourself. I've partnered with some people and some companies that can take us to a whole new level. And it's so much easier when you got people pulling for you than when you're trying to do everything yourself, because there's only 24 hours in a day and you can't do it all. You can't. So that I'm looking forward to what we got planned and what we've talked about.
The fact that you think enough of us to even sit down and have those conversations. The fact that you watch us is I mean, honestly, it's a feather in my cap, and I'm sure Speed would say the same thing. I know he does. We talked about it. The fact that you took time to sit down, and I'm sure you heard me, but this is the first episode of season 2.
Yeah, I heard.
And it's an honor for me to even sit across from you and pick your brain. And I'm fanboying, but I told you I was going fanboy.
Right.
But it's respect and admiration, and it's like literally, man, you were a childhood hero. Like that's if I was telling people, yeah, I got Tubbo Yets on the episode, man. It's my childhood hero. Like not just sports, but the resiliency, the triumph. We started the first 20 minutes with you talking, courageously and elegantly about losing your wife.
Yeah.
I don't care how many touchdowns you scored at the man part, and the human aspect of it, and you being trusting me enough to tell me your story and be vulnerable. That means a whole lot. I can't let us get off. I know your daughter ain't gonna let you without mention. We gotta mention. We gotta mention your daughter, man, because you'd have never heard the last. I got 3 girls. I know how it is. I ain't gonna ambush you and send you into that.
Yeah, I was gonna mention her name because she knows I was coming on tonight, so she definitely better say you didn't mention my name. We'll talk about her. She's still doing great in Miami. I mean, she loves it.
Cheerleader of the year.
Cheerleader of the year. Yes. So she won that award her sophomore year, which is into her junior, so she won that award. Cheerleader of the game multiple times.
Let me add some context real fast.
Yeah.
This is the Miami Hurricanes.
Yes.
We ain't in Oxford. We ain't in Oxford, Ohio. We talking about the Miami Hurricanes.
Yes.
And she won Cheerleader of the Year.
Yeah.
So shout out to Isabella. That's an amazing feat.
Yeah. We were excited, and she works. I mean, I tell you, I go down there a lot. I know you guys see me posting stuff being in Miami, especially, now that my wife is gone. And I try to be there for her and support. And the coaches, the cheering coaches, the staff down there has been wonderful. They sent us stuff to the house and been very supportive of Isabella and myself when I come down for the games. When they tell you, when they say it's a Canes thing, you'll never understand. They mean it. And they've been very, helpful and loving and caring to Isabella, and I appreciate them for doing that. And it's just something that the cheering parents, I've talked with them and talked with some of the football team parents that came up to me and said, hey, Isabella knows my son. I heard what happened. They're very supportive. So it's been a very loving and caring times when I go down there. I enjoy it, and it's just something that the Canes family is real. It's real, and a lot of people don't know this. There's only 8,000 students that go to Miami. There's 8,000 undergrads and 2,000 graduate students. So there's only 10,000 kids there. Most people don't think that.
No, I would have never thought that.
No, you'd have never thought that. The campus ain't. It's decent size, but when we got there, I said, "This is it." It's a private school.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a private. They call it the Ivy League of the South. It's a small private school, hard to get in. Isabella's, she's still in pre-med. She's doing her thing. She texts me after her exams. I mean, this past week of exams, I mean, I didn't see anything less than a 94% on exams, and she's excited, you know. And we couldn't ask for a better a daughter. You know, she's respectful, very polite. People love her. The fans love her. You know, it's just a wonderful thing to have and to see. And my wife did a great job with her. My wife was able to be with her the first almost 8 years growing up. You know, she was there teaching her every day, and she didn't have to work at that time because I was working. And she did a hell of a job. She did one hell of a job with her. So, you know, my wife's my MVP, but she always told me, hey, no matter what they do, they don't put you in the Hall of Fame. They don't give you an award, but you're my MVP. You know, my wife could told me that because she's been with me from day one when I first started, you know, in high school for sports. So, you know, but no, with Isabella, proud of her each and every day. You know, she wants me to either come down more often, but I tell her, I said, hey, you know, Dad has a life. You know, I need to, you know, I need to get stuff done around here at the house and all this other stuff. But yeah, she's just a great kid.
It's awesome to hear the tone change.
Yeah.
The tone change when you talk about your baby girl.
Yes.
You could definitely tell. You know, they tug on the heartstrings a little different.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. You know, you want your kids to grow up to be better than you. Mm-hmm. And that's definitely a saying that we've always talked about. But I also told her, I want you to grow up to be a great human being as well as, you know, a great person or a great athlete or whatever. Just be a great human being throughout life and be humble, be kind. You know, and she is. She's thankful for what she's able to have, and what she has. You know, and just the one thing that I'll share with you guys that. That I haven't shared with anybody yet. So, you know, my wife passing, you know, she had these aspirations to go to Duke medical school or go down to Texas to go to school and continue her medical career. She was talking about North Carolina. And then this past year, she said, hey, Dad, with this past fall, she said, with everything going on, she's like, I might apply to Pitt and come back home. So that meant a lot to me, you know. So
well, there you go. Breaking news. Yes.
Yeah. So if she does that and she gets in there, I would love to have her around. You know, I'll get her a place up in Pittsburgh, but she's close to home and she's here, and you know, I can still have that connection because we were close. We're very close. Mm-hmm. We're very close. So I would love to have her around again and you know, have her in our daily routine. But I also understand that, you know, like my wife told me before she passed, she said, hey, you have to let her grow, you know, because dads are different.
So I'm glad you said this, man. And this is for personal reasons. My daughter is a senior in high school. Mm-hmm. She's been accepted into Morgan State. Mm-hmm. I believe Norfolk State as well. Okay. But she really wants to go to HBCU. Mm-hmm. She visited Morgan State and she really liked it, and she's been accepted. So the father in me, I wanted to stay local. Yeah. But what your wife told you, you know, I don't want to stunt her growth. I don't, and I want her to experience that, but it keeps me up at night. Honestly, her being that far away.
Oh yeah.
And I was going to ask you that, you know, man to man, father to father, not clipping your baby's wings and letting her go to Miami. While you're still up here, I'm sure that wasn't easy.
No, it was not easy. It wasn't easy. The first year, I think I went down. I even went to Texas. I went to the away game, so I was down there every weekend. I'm not kidding you. I try to go down every weekend. But the thing that really helped her, and she shared this with us, and I saw it. I saw it as a dad. I saw it from a distance. The day that we dropped her off, it was like, practice was that afternoon. Like, we moved in, they had practice that afternoon, and from that practice that afternoon, it went for 2 weeks straight, nothing but, you know, 10, 12-hour practices and then games. And it was a game every week. So that kept her busy and it got her through that first time. Now, being dad, I couldn't wait for the Fridays to get on the plane to get to Miami. But yeah, you know, it keeps you up, you know, and because those are your babies. I mean, and I know how guys are. I was a guy. I'm a guy, and I get it. I know. I try to, you know, protect her and teach her there's certain things to be street smart. You could be book smart, but watch people, they play games, and I've been telling her that since she was little. And again, I get messages from random people on Facebook, a random, messenger, hey, could I get the secret book to raising a kid, raising your daughter? You and your wife have done a great job, and that means so much to us. And I know it meant a lot to my wife, because that's all you want, is to be able to raise your kids to be good people. Because we don't want them to make the same mistakes that we made,
Right.
because we made them and we understand those mistakes now. And that's the thing. Growing up, nobody knows what the mistakes are going to be, good or bad, because you're not thinking about them. You're just living life, and some of them could be consequential. So, but at the end of the day, that's the one thing that I'm proud of, is that people do tell me that, hey, your daughter is doing great things, and she's respectful, and she's just a nice person. So that meant a lot for me.
It's one of the best compliments you could receive.
Yes.
Actually, I can't even think of any better, to be honest with you.
No. And I said, even at this age, she's at this age, and her calling me dad, being wanting to hang around, and when I'm down there, hey, before I even get down there, she's got dinner plans made, she's got stuff for us to do, because she knows I'm just going to be at the resort. I ain't going I don't go nowhere. I'm just waiting on the game. But no, she makes plans to want to hang out with her dad, and still at that age when most kids don't want to be around their parents or be around their, she still wants to hang out, and we hang out, and we talk, and we just talk about life, and I try to just keep trying to educate her, and just keep feeding her information and things that I have experienced, and she knows right from wrong. I mean, and that's what you instill. We instilled in her when she was younger. If you're gonna do something, and dad's gonna kick your ass, or come down hard on you, it's the wrong thing to do. Do the other one. Do the right thing. So, we had that, but we had to get hit with a shoe, a switch.
It was different.
It was different.
It was different. Yeah.
It was a difference. It was different. And then, like I said, we talked earlier. The community beat you up and told you to go home, so your parents could beat you up. So it was just a different time. So now I tried to establish that in her, and I think so far it's going pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it totally looks like it, and her included with everybody else. We could say so many names, but just like actively with Inky, and Najee and Zach. Like when somebody from Steubenville make it, just like when we were watching you return kicks for Purdue. Like when somebody from Steubenville make it, we all make it.
Yes.
So when I seen her. Yeah, I've never met the young lady, but when I seen her get cheerleader of the year for the Miami Hurricanes, we made it. That's putting Steubenville on the map.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's so exciting for me, because when I'm sitting at the game, and sometimes they'll do a feature. She was featured one time, and it said, from Steubenville, Isabella, yes, from Steubenville, Ohio. I mean, I remember telling my wife, like, oh, we on the map. We on the map in Miami. Like I was so excited, and she was like, it's just Steubenville. Like she didn't get it. She was then when I tried to explain to her, she's like, oh yeah. I said, everybody in this stadium know Steubenville, Ohio now. Like,
Ohio.
yeah. And then it hit her. It's like, oh yeah, because we are a small town. And I said, yeah. And so because all the other girls, New Jersey, New York, the Chicago, I mean, they're from the big cities. Some of them are from Miami. But when you see Steubenville, Ohio, next to those names, you're like, yeah, the Steubenville's up there. We made it.
And the people around you wouldn't understand, but anybody from Steubenville would have understood.
That's it.
Like your reaction to seeing Steubenville, Ohio or hearing Steubenville, Ohio in Miami, Florida.
Yeah, at the Hard Rock Stadium. Can you believe? Imagine
and that's
that?
your daughter, but even here in the city just means something to you, because
this is where we're from.
This is where we're from. So Tubbo, when I first started, we mentioned resiliency and triumph, and your story, it's inspirational to me, and I'm sure it's going to be inspirational to a lot of people. Especially in Steubenville, we mentioned Steubenville, there's a lot of people still emotionally invested into you because of what you've done for the city and how you put us on the map. What do you hope that the viewers take away from your episode?
Oh man, wow! And my wife always told me I should write a book, because I tell her some of my old stories growing up. and the way we were raised and the things that we had to go through, and just being tough. So I think the viewers gotta, look at the whole picture and say, no matter what happens, nobody's perfect. You're gonna have some ups and downs in your life. You're gonna have some struggles, but sometimes you have to fail to succeed. So and I'm a split image of that. I mean, I literally was, being locked up and hitting rock bottom. And I mean rock bottom is where your freedom's taken away from you. So for me, and being able to bounce back from that, and bouncing like a springboard, bouncing higher. So yeah, you can make it. I mean, like I said, Steubenville, if we stay together and people are as one and we help each other out, I mean, really the sky's the limit, and there's no need to be separating different, the South End, the North End, the PVC is gone now. They didn't gave it to the university, but I think for if Steubenville really wants to really grow, if we stay together, I think that's a huge win for a lot of people, because we reach far. We got people all over the country, all over the United States, all over the world that are from here, and you can make it. You can make it, and us coming together. This when people see some of the things that are coming, and I got to give a shout out to Janice Boston when her stuff pops off next month, and the stuff that we have partnered together and doing some things. People will see you can make it because she's got a story. She's got a story. So we all have a story to tell, and look at it. We're all sitting around doing something positive, telling the story so other kids don't make those same mistakes or they learn something from us. So that is huge. And whether you're a teenager in your 20s or 30s or 40s or even in your 50s, Warren Buffett didn't become a billionaire until he was 55. So you have an opportunity to turn your life around, so people reach out and they're willing to put some work in. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be happening that can help, and I'll be making some announcements that people can come in and help out and help grow the company where they may have some success and being able to do some positive things with themselves. So you can do it if you, like you always talked about, you got to put the work in. Nothing's going to come easy. Being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, none of that stuff's easy. Nothing this stuff, the show that you guys are doing ain't easy. You see the highlights or the clips of it, but the stuff behind it is not easy.
It's work.
It's work. So you got to put that work in, and if you do it, people will see that, and that's what's connected me to Janice Boston. I seen her doing the toy drive, her always donating, putting time in with certain people, and now I seen her on the radio. She's putting in work, so why wouldn't I want to partner with somebody like that and put a partnership together to help her grow her community, her podcast? So yeah, she's going to be doing some great things coming up, and like she told me, she wants to be the next Oprah. She's going to give a lot of stuff away, and I told her, hey, I'll be on there giving some stuff away too. So tune in to the show when it starts. You could win gift cards. You may end up winning a family vacation on us. So there's a lot of things that we're going to try to do to give back to the community, so when people listen in, they can have some success, they can maybe learn something. And again, I think everybody that I've talked to, you guys and her, and some of the sponsorships that I'm going to help try to get you guys and get her, they're open for discussion. How can they help? Mm-hmm. So, and that's the same thing we're doing. How can we help the community? So that's what I wanted the Steubenville to take from this. If there's something that's on your mind, they should reach out to certain people and let's talk about it. Let's meet and see which way we can go to be successful.
Just power and partnership.
Power and partnership.
Power and partnership.
Coming.
And you never know who's watching.
That's it.
So if you keep working, you put your head down, you keep working, it might not seem like, you're getting the results, but you never know who's watching. And,
you never know.
Your story you just told about Janice is pun intended, it's living proof of that. You see what I did there? Yeah.
I see what you did. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, it's honestly living proof. And, the same, we didn't know you were watching us,
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know who's watching, other than people that tell us, but we're putting the work in, hopefully to, impress the right people so we can grow.
Yep.
And another thing I'm taking away from, from your takeaway is let's collab instead of compete and compare. Let's collab. Again, there's power in partnership. Like we don't got to reinvent the wheel. It's right there.
That's it.
Use your resources, and it's easier if we're together than everybody trying to do it on their own.
That's true. And I tell you, just like I said, these last 2 weeks, man, I'm gonna be now in access to over 13,000 businesses in 132 different countries. A kid, I'm a grown man now from Steubenville. Come on. I mean, literally, I had the UPMC today reached out to me. I'm partnered with UPMC, the women's hospital. I mean, I never thought I would be able to just ever say that. Where I came from, I'm partnered with one of the biggest hospitals and one of the renowned hospitals in the country that's going to partner with me to help me grow my business and to help give back to cancer research. I mean, they talked about me using their logos. They want this. They want the video from this interview. They want their own. They want to help me with their marketing team and how can they help promote my site, my business, the partnerships that I'm looking to do. You get a company like UPMC, the Hilton, the Marriott, bookings.com behind you. The sky's the limit. The sky is the limit, and I'm appreciative of that.
And we're appreciative of you. Like I said, taking time to come down here and talk with us, but also, seeing something in us and enough to, sit down and have a conversation with us and talk about partnership. And there'll be more coming. We ain't gonna give y'all too much. We ain't gonna give them too much. I think we gave them a lot.
We gave them a lot, though.
We gave them a lot here. This is the way you want to start off a season. So before we wrap this up, as always, we want to thank our viewers. We want to encourage y'all to continue to like, share, subscribe. Specifically with this episode with Tubbo, we want feedback. Tubbo gave us a whole lot. There's from a lot of people from a lot of places are going to be watching. So we want y'all feedback, what y'all think, about some of the things we talked about. Definitely hit up the comment section on all the social media platforms and give us some feedback. That keeps us going. And I don't know, I think we could have did another 2 hours, so maybe that could get Tubbo back on here. So as always, like, subscribe, share, visit the website, www.legacyloungemedia.com. Get on the community hub. But turn this episode up, man. I think this is going to be, I know this is going to be crazy. Make sure y'all check out our YouTube page as well. That's Legacy Lounge Podcast on YouTube. We got every episode on there. You could go back to the first episode, to the last episode. We got short videos. We got some great content on there. So make sure y'all check out the YouTube page. I have a lot of people ask. They see the clips on social media, but they want to know how to watch the full episode. The full episode is on YouTube. That's a Legacy Lounge Podcast on YouTube. So I want to thank you again, Tubbo, for your honesty, your insights, and your incredible legacy. But I want to thank you for all of those. And if you got any closing remarks for us, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah. No, I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. I'm glad I was able to share my story and some stories that a lot of people didn't even know existed, except for the people who were involved in them. I appreciate it. And again, it's coming. Power of Partnerships LLC is coming. I'm going to be partnering up with companies, individuals, different media companies. Just having partnerships is going to grow our business, and that money will be donated back to cancer. So again, you guys will be a part of that. Janice will be the first that's going to come on the scene with her podcast in January. So we're excited about that. And then we're just going to grow. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of companies and in a lot of different countries. So this thing is going to go up very well. The main thing is, I hope you guys watch the show. These guys are putting a lot of work behind the scenes and doing a hell of a job. And I enjoy watching it. Like I said, they didn't even know I watched it, but I do. I put the whole hour and 26 minutes in last night. Just watching Blake. I know y'all call him Speed, but I call him Blake. But Speed is watching his show. So no, I do. I enjoy that. I enjoy the show. And again, the biggest thing is I like to see you guys keep taking your show to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. And if my company can be a part of that, we'll be partnering up, and we'll get this thing rolling.
We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And we're looking forward to growing and being a part of your next journey as well.
Yes.
There's so many takeaways from this, so many takeaways. We focus on the word legacy because that's what we are, the Legacy Lounge. You don't have to be gone to impact your legacy. Every day you get up, every time your feet hit the floor, every time we wake up, it's a chance to impact our legacy. And the work you put in is a direct result of that. So again, I said it, you never know who's watching. And if you ain't doing it for nobody else, do it for yourself. But it's never too late. Tubbo said Warren Buffett was 55 years old, before he became a millionaire or billionaire. Mm-hmm. It's never too late. Every time you wake up is a chance to right a wrong, and it's a chance to get back on your grind, get back on your bike. You fall off 9 times, you get back up 10. So when you're working on your legacy or you're looking to impact your legacy, it starts every day by waking up. That's it. It sounds simple, but that's it. Wake up, we put the work in. Legacy Lounge Season 2, we appreciate y'all. We about to grow. We in the building. Let's go.